Okay. So again, congratulations on the 60 enrollment so far that people have turned in, and we will continue to go and help the company that nobody wants to lose. So I'll start off today by asking, your assignment last week was to qualify 5 people. Can you put a 1 in the chat if you were able to qualify 5 people? Talk to them, get them done, ask the questions, and then keep talking to them to find out, if they were interested, why they might be interested. Just continue to talk and really drill down into, what their interest was before you send it, so that so that they're really interested in looking at the information by the time you send it, instead of just saying, oh, great, you're interested, let me send you something. and not knowing why. So 2 people qualified, somebody?
I didn't do 5.
Okay. Okay, so what were some of the issues maybe that people were having?
They're busy probably sometimes, they say it's a heavy, it's a season now and they're busy. I followed up with the tennis manager for the pro shop, and because they're getting ready for the tennis tournament. So she said after that, the massage therapist said, yeah, she said it's a busy season. The media lady, she said she was in the surgery hospital. And the autism guy, I have a follow-up with him today, this afternoon.
And so just pointing out something, if you're following up with 4 people and they're all busy, if you're trying to really qualify and get your business moving, would you reach out to more people then?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm continuing. It's like I'm not stopping right there. But, like I invite them, Debbie, to your 20-minute Zoom, and, I have to take my child somewhere, boy, whatever, it's raining. So they have an excuse, kind of gives
Well,
me
that's
the
when you need to
impression.
drill down more. Were you really interested in this? Was there something in your health that you wanted to change? You start asking them questions, because if they're just kind of blowing you off, then maybe they're not really interested.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
why the qualifying questions come in.
Yeah, Danielle was saying on Saturday, maybe because they have their own business, so they're kind of like focused, on their business and they don't want. But she gave good, actually, suggestions to follow up, like this will help you with your massage therapist. You'll provide more to your clients and, things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the qualifying questions, what were you interested in to begin with? Because you told me you were interested, because if you're not making yourself available to learn a little bit more, then you'll never know if you really are interested, basically.
Well, actually, I was collaborating with her. So I met her at one of those, gosh, forgot. Like one of those mixers. And I asked to meet her. So it's not like she said she came after me. I was just trying to reach out to her to collaborate with her.
Oh,
And
well, then that
it's a
makes sense.
Zoom.
So she may not
Yeah.
be interested at all. So you just need to continue to
Yeah, she noticed the
overcome.
difference though when I did the 3 and 5. She said, "Oh yeah, her thyroid and her shoulder, and she can apply it to her when she does the massage." So there is this type of
So after that, then you say, are you interested in learning more about this and why you felt that way?
yeah,
And
yeah,
she may say no. A lot of doctors do. They're like, no, I'm not interested, but thanks for helping me or whatever.
yeah.
So
Thank
you
you.
just never know. Sure, absolutely. Anybody else have an issue or something they want to bring up?
I think, Debbie, you hit on exactly the issues that I'm kind of running into, and I kind of have been paying attention to that little pattern of mine. Is that like at the beginning, I was reaching out to a lot of people all at once, so I had a lot of movement happening, and now
Right.
it all slowed down. But that's because I'm still focusing on the initial people that I first dialed into, and I'm not dialing into new people. I'm still trying to like sort of kind of convince, okay, yeah, you need to look at this more, right? So, but
Right.
having said that, yesterday I delivered some product to a couple, and they said, oh, and we have friends coming, and she's a holistic veterinarian.
Okay.
She's interested. So I said, okay, I'll bring some information. So I brought the big textbook and I brought the few other things that I had. And so, you know, I just said to the veterinarian, her name is Laura, I said, okay, you ask me questions, you know, if you're interested, you ask me questions. And if I can't answer them, I'll guide you elsewhere. And so at the end of the conversation, I said to her, well, would you like me to leave this textbook for you? And she said, no, I'm too busy. I got too many other things on the go. So right then and there, I knew, like you said, she's too busy. So she doesn't have that great of an interest. However, she did ask for links to information. So I sent her 3 emails with 3 different links. So we'll see where that one goes. But yeah, it's more keep adding people to your,
Yes.
yeah, that's, I know that's where I need to improve right away. Yeah. So thanks for that, Debbie.
Yeah. You know, I can say personally, I do too. So, I'm not focusing on you guys. This is inward also. Gracia, do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, good morning. I'm sorry, I cannot turn my camera on. It's playing tricks on me. It's not turning on today. So, the reason I raised my hand is because I believe people are getting more and more difficult to find something new, because as some of you might know, I am the functional health business practitioner, and although we don't use drugs, etc., but even people in my circle that, you know, natural stuff, when I introduce something new, such as ASEA in this case, and, you know, we have all the scientific proofs and this and that, they're still hesitant. That's my experience so far. And of course, doesn't mean that I'm going to stop. Actually, today I have an appointment, and she is not from the natural functional health group, let's call it. She's a mom who has an autistic child. And although autism is not my specialty, however, I know a lot thanks to, you know, natural health, etc. And of course, this is the reason that I fix an appointment with her. I'm going to talk about ASEA. My question is, do you, since you are much more, of course, experienced than me, do you have any suggestions that I should do, say, or not say? Thank you.
Well, this helps autism immensely, but I know talk about skeptical people would think, if this is helping autism so much, why isn't it out there more? So, I think you have to approach it, you know, that you have something that, I mean, I say I've got something that's native to the body that your child already makes inside of them. They're just not working correctly. They're not signaling correctly, or your child wouldn't have autism. And
Or
and
because overloaded with poisons, but that's another rabbit hole.
well, and or that, and I have something that could help detoxify and help the brain stimulus connect, so that we've seen it turn around. I mean, I can say I've seen it turn around autism several times, personally, and then I've heard many stories, of course. And of course, Dr. Gary Samuelson, who helped us stabilize, and Zach Bush used to speak at Autism One and Autism Speaks all the time because they'd seen such a difference with SIA and autism. So I would do it gently and just say, it's, and as far as your other clients and stuff, I mean, you might start qualifying them and saying, asking maybe, why are you hesitant in trying this, that kind of thing, asking them why they're not taking your suggestion, because if you're their kind of doctor, so to speak, why aren't they listening? They might be afraid of the safety, and you've got safety studies you could show them, and there's so many things, like you said, that you could show them. So I'm not quite sure why they're hesitant.
Let me clarify. It's not so much the clients, but the other practitioners that I am in touch
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah,
with, and
because their
to have-
reputation is on the line.
maybe that, or I don't know, or because they, I don't know, something inside them says that is not, well, we have proof. I mean, we are supposed to be open-minded people if we are in this sector, especially not go like a train that cannot be derailed unless they have an accident. We are supposed to have, and almost always I say, oh yes, I will check it, and after 2 weeks, and I follow up, of course, without being obnoxious, and still, oh yeah, I didn't have the time, etc. Excuses. So yeah, and I ask what you recommend, Debbie. What is what's the reason you are not having putting aside a few minutes to check what I sent you, etc. Either is silence, they are ghosting me, or again, I will do, but I'm very busy. I mean, we should have priorities. To me, it was a no-brainer. When I start hearing, I said, wait a minute, salt water? No. I'm drinking salt water for decades, and I'm not having miraculous results. That means there is something else in here. And I kept asking and digging. Of course, everyone, I don't expect everyone to be like me,
Okay.
but
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of open-minded,
Yeah.
People should be interested. Yeah.
Oh, and Sandy was going to say something, but she's on the phone, it looks like. Again, this is me personally. If anybody else, this is also a mastermind. I think a lot of them might be a little bit concerned, that before they put their reputation behind it, they'd want to know a little bit more about it. So I would give them the white papers for one thing, because that's proof. And then I would talk to them about, I don't know, that there are thousands of doctors already in this, and they've already done their due diligence. And if you just give it a little bit of time, this has really helped turned around. And then maybe show them some of the PubMed studies, that there's over 500,000. You could show them Dr. James Watson, who's published already an article in the Lancet about type 2 diabetes, cancer, and brain disorders with these molecules. There's so many proofs, and just get them to take and show them that before you say, I'll send you more information. That's what I do if I'm going to go see a doctor, or I want to speak to somebody professionally about it. I have all that stuff that they can take a glance at and go, oh, wow, okay, this is already out there. There's the 25th annual Redox Congress in Paris. Anytime any of them see any of that, they take a step back, and they kind of look at it, and then they want to do some due diligence on it.
Thank you.
Debbie,
Yes.
that site, when I went into redoxscience.com just to see, because they're taking the SIA away as best they can. When I went into redoxscience.com, I'm telling you, that's a beautiful site. I don't know if any of you have looked at it yet.
Oh yeah, it's very
I
deep.
see it
into
created
redox.
a long time ago. It's got a lot of beautiful visuals, and just to say, it's a beautiful illustration.
Mhm.
So look at that one. Look at that one and see if that resonates with you. It's kind of sciencey, but it's got these beautiful color illustrations about what
But she's
redox
talking to
muscles.
doctors, that's what they want, science.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and
yeah.
it's not so heavy. It's not like sending them to PubMed. That's a drink from a fire hydrant,
Mhm.
in my opinion. It's a drink from a fire hydrant, but
Not from a
that's where doctors
not
go.
from a doctor's standpoint, though. That's why
But if they don't have time to go drink from the fire hydrant right away, that redoxscience.com site is a visual, hopefully that will spark at least some curiosity. The back of my card says, what if? And please be curious. Those are the two questions on the back of my business card.
Mhm.
What if it did? What if there's something that has been discovered that you don't yet know about? Can you set your ego aside? And I would say that to them. Can you set your ego aside and realize that learning is an active thing? It's not stagnant. Just because you've got those letters behind your name doesn't mean it's time to stop learning.
All good points. And then Sandy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, it's something that I've been kind of reiterating with my new folks coming on. And so I've been rewatching the discoverredoxtraining.com and talking about the more people you put in the funnel, the more people will come out the bottom.
Right.
And the other one I've been going back to is GoPro with Eric War about how to really, you have a meeting to set a meeting. You never leave a conversation without the next meeting. And it takes 4 to 6 exposures. And so, I think we want quick response. It took us a while took me a while to figure out, what is this stuff? It takes a paradigm
Right.
shift. So I just think those are the key things. It's like rewatch discoverredoxtraining.com. And as you said, the main goal is to pique interest, engage in a conversation. You're not going to most likely get them on the first time. And then the GoPro has, there's an audio book, and then of course the actual book you can read on Kindle or whatever. It's just inviting. How do you invite people and pique interest? And you told me you're going to watch this. When are you actually going to watch this? If I call you tomorrow, will you have watched it? It's like, it's hard to do that. You kind of have to have a courageous conversation with people.
Yeah.
But I think the more you pique interest, I just have to share an interesting, and I'm kind of with Pearl, you go out in your world and you live your life and you run into people you're supposed to meet and you have conversations with those people. I was in line at the basketball games yesterday, taller woman, and we were chit-chatting about the weather, waiting to order our food, and she said, "Oh, I came here from New York." I said, "I bet that was a culture shock from New York to Lincoln, Nebraska." She said, "Yes." I said, "Well, what brought you here?" She said, "Oh, I teach at the university." "Oh, what do you teach?" "Biomedical engineering."
Okay. Okay.
And she had she just had back surgery a few months ago, and so she was ready to order, but she ordered hot dogs, thank God. So she was actually fixing her hot dogs by the time I got my food. So I said, we need to talk because I work with a company in redox biochemistry. Have you worked with the Redox Center on campus? She said, yeah, we've done some work with them. And I looked up her info on, she's been working on pain, some type of, they design things for the body to help the body function better, like what are they called? Prosthetics and things like that. But she's been working on something for back pain. So I said, I've got some information to send with you. I sent her a text this morning. I got her phone number, and it's like, got some information about NRF2. I can send you a white paper. So you're out and about and you're talking to people. And I think, Pearl says those divine appointments. So that was, amazing connection. But yeah, discoverredoxtraining.com, learn how to kind of just pique interest and then put people in the funnel. It's an information process. And then the Eric Worre GoPro is really good about just how you invite, how you stick with people and not pressure people, but just be professional and just, keep them in conversation. So
You're a prime example of it, Sandy. Good job.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
That's
fun
like running
time.
into an atomic medical physicist.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and when I said, I feel like this is a divine appointment. She said, my whole life has worked that way. So, it was,
Perfect.
it was a wonderful day, except the Hawks lost, but it was a wonderful environment for women's sports and women's basketball. It was a fun day with the sellout crowd. But yeah, every day it seems like I'm running into people, and either people have known me or I've known them in the past, and we just start a conversation. And
I just want to interject here. First of all, I really thank Diane for, that kind of level setting about like where things are in her funnel. I completely identify with that, because there is this tension between not bringing to fruition the people who are further along down the funnel versus bringing more people in. So the simultaneity is really a skill set. And it's true in sales, which is my background, but this is a little different because the attention that's required to get people all the way down the funnel can be very all-consuming if you get the feeling that they're like ready to go. So being able to kind of stop juggling those balls and go get a few more and, you know, kind of put them in the funnel, that is an attention skill set so that you're not missing somebody. But I would also add that Sandy, I think just by virtue of the way she speaks and her posture, is indicating something that is the subtle but really critical piece to this in terms of getting somebody's engagement. There is a core comfortability that Sandy has when she speaks about this. There's nothing, you know, I need you. There's nothing begging about it. There's nothing, shy or reserved about it. It's a simple, this is who I am. This is what it is. I'd love to give you some more information. And that piece is, I think, for me, the part that when it's in place versus when it's not in place is the difference between a flow and something that stops right at the door, because people pick that up. And unless we're attuned to ourselves, we're not even aware that we're projecting this level of neediness or, you know, kind of insecurity around it. Like, you know, I'm not sure you're going to need to know this, you know, kind of quality, or excuse me for interrupting, you know, those kinds of ways in which you don't have to use those words, but it's the energy that you give forward. And so I think, to me, this is the place of work where, if, you know, those divine appointments can be missed if you're not centered, if you're not present. And that presence isn't, here, can I give you a card? That presence is knowing, having a deeper knowing of what that other person's energy is with and for you, right? So this is amazing work, but it's leveled work, right? It's not just what we say. It's not just the piquing interest is about figuring out what's going to pique that person's interest.
That's
Because
the
not everybody's
qualifying
going to be the
questions
same.
right there.
Right?
Yeah.
So all of this is a skill set that lest we miss the subtleties of this, there's a part of all of us that we could just not be training up on and not appreciating the kind of barriers to entry and giving ourselves a break. This is complicated work. There's a lot going on here.
There's
And, you know, and most of it is really about us, right? It's about them, but the about us part is really important because we can't get to the about them if we're not connected to ourselves and knowing what we're putting out there.
Strongly
Does that
agree
make
with
sense?
that. I strongly agree
Yeah.
with that.
Well said,
Absolutely.
Sean.
Yeah,
Well said.
right on.
And the other point that keeps coming up for me when I hear you guys speaking is, I think a lot of people feel that people need to know about this. That's your judgment. They may or may not need to know about this. In my mind, everybody needs to know about it, but, you know, and especially if you're working with doctors or something, I have said to doctors, you know, you're going to be behind if you don't learn about this, because this is changing the medical field. But that's up to you. Definitely. It's whatever you want to learn. If you're open to still learning, then great. If you're not open to still learning, then you'll learn about this eventually, is what's going to happen. So get it out of your head that somebody needs to know about it just because they have a great influence. You know, it would be nice if they listen, but not everybody does.
I
But
think
yes,
the word deserves, fits in
Mhm.
there more comfortably than need.
Yep. I love
Um,
Chuck
I
Gates.
tell
When he
people,
says that.
I tell people all the time, we can't know what anyone else needs. It's
Exactly.
not our place to know. I like the word deserves.
Yep. You deserve to know about it. Chuck Gates says that all the time. Well, everything everyone said is very pertinent. And thank you, Sean. That was beautifully said. And, we can move on because I think one of the things I know I wanted to get to was the tools, and Danielle's going to be leaving for Australia for a couple of weeks. So she won't be, I mean, she'll have her team phone call this coming Saturday if you guys still want to get on it. But what you brought up last week, and which we were, like I said, working on together kind of, is the tool, the Renew 28 tool, because it's so powerful. And one of the things I love that she brought up is having a table and just getting people interactive and saying to them, come over here, I'd like to, do a little experiment with you and stuff like that. And teaching them and showing them how literally you can put the Renew 28 on the vagus nerve after you've done the balance and strength tests with them. So you can literally, and I don't know, does everybody here know the balance and strength test? And have you ever seen it done? Leland Duck used to demonstrate it all the time. Does anybody here not know it?
I've heard of it, but I've actually never done it myself, and I've only seen it done a couple times. So,
okay, well, that's going to be your assignment. First of all, I want you to just find somebody, doesn't matter, somebody you're comfortable with, and say, I want to do a strength and balance test with you because I want to practice this. And if it's your friend, they'll of course say, okay. But the more comfortable you get with it, the more you can do it out in public, and the more you could have maybe a table, somewhere, because spring is coming for some people. In Colorado, it's a little later, but but spring brings out the craft fairs and all the fairs that people go to, the health fairs and all that kind of stuff. And if you set up a table and just had fun with this and did the balance and strength test, but it's a proof to literally anybody that's ever seen it, they instantly want to know more about it. And so I could kind of demonstrate, I guess I could stand up and demonstrate a little bit about how it's done. And like I said, I think most of you have seen this. So I don't know, can you see me? Anyway, the first thing you do is put your arms out and put one leg up, and then you're going to push down on the arm that the leg is up on. So right now my right leg is up, so you'd push down on my right arm. And of course, I'm going to put my leg down to catch my balance. So that's the balance part of it. And then you put your hands in a cup and you put it down in front of you, and you're going to push straight down on them, and they're going to go forward. And your goal is to tell them, I'm not going to try to prove I'm stronger than you. I'm just testing your reflexes. So, especially a guy, they might really stiffen themselves, but you're going to see them move forward a little bit. And then you're going to put your arms out in front of you, and you're going to come up underneath them, directly underneath them, and push them up, and you're going to see their toes come up. You might not budge them too much if they're very strong, but you're going to see their toes come up. And then you just put the Renew on the vagus nerve, and when you push down again, they're solid. You can't move them. And that's where you have to get comfortable in doing this, knowing that it works all the time. Then you put your arms down and they don't come forward, and you put your arms up and they don't go back. And so if you get really good at doing that, I've seen Leland do it in restaurants, and he has all kinds of people coming over going, can you do that to me? And then instantly saying, what is that stuff? I want to know more about it. It's one of your best tools to use. And then of course, if they have, I'll just say pain on this. If they have pain, you can do the 3 and 5 and literally take their pain away within about 10 minutes usually, or at least greatly lessen it. And so one of your greatest tools to use is the Renew 28. David Silverman has been saying that for forever. And literally Chuck Gates is the first one who told me about it. He just didn't make a video, so he wasn't as well known, but he's the first one to tell me about it. And I told David after I went to Sweden how I literally took a man who had been a farmer who hadn't felt his foot in I think it was 7 years. and he was crying because that's his living. And if he couldn't feel his feet to walk, Pearl, I'm gonna mute you for a second because you're causing noise, but anyway, so you can unmute though. And I took his one foot, just one foot, because I wanted him to feel the difference. And I rubbed the Renu 28 on his foot 3 times in 5 minutes, and I used a good amount of it. And he started calling me over because I was working a crowd because I was doing a presentation in Sweden. And then he was really crying because he felt the warmth in his foot for the first time in 7 years. So that's neuropathy. And I did that to another man that Joyce Gladstone was with me for. And Mr. Miller, anyway. And he hadn't felt his feet in 20 years. And by the time he felt, he just sat up and he goes, "No way, no way." And I said, "What?" And he goes, "I feel warmth in my foot. I haven't felt warmth in my foot in 20 years. So I rubbed his other foot and he was literally dancing around their living room. And so when everybody came in, they saw what had happened to him. And it was amazing. I mean, everybody was really interested. So it's such a powerful tool if you guys use it. I mean, most everyone I know here carries it around with them so they can instantly do it. And going into the chiropractor's office, I ask them if they have discomfort anywhere, but I'm going to start doing the balance test because I don't even think I've done that to my chiropractor, and he needs to see that also. And she just reminded me of it. You know, we all forget sometimes. So
And Debbie, could you show us where you put the Renew on the vagus nerve?
yeah, it's right next to the carotid arteries. It's right in here. The vagus nerves run right next to the carotid arteries. So it's just down your throat here.
How long do you wait on that balance and strength test? It's immediate?
It's immediate.
Wow. Okay.
It's immediate. Yeah, that's what blows your mind and blows everyone else's mind. Oh,
Debbie?
and then Jackie Martinez put in a video to watch about it, and you can see it, somebody actually doing it right there. So if you want to capture that out of your chat.
That's amazing.
Yes. I know Daniela has a question too. Lisa, did you have one?
No, you answered it about immediate.
Immediate. Okay.
Yeah.
I have one, Debbie. The issue that I'm having with this, I do the test. I did it to my, to my tennis instructor or whatever, and she said, "What is it?" So they asked for the name, and then right away she said, "Well, I'm gonna Google it." And I'm like, so that's when. So the follow-up is kind of a dilemma for me. What do you say after that? Yeah, I mean, you don't know these people. I'm at Starbucks, for example, and I'm doing this test. So what do you do?
It really depends on if you have a bunch of people standing in front of you and they're all wanting to see it. You continue doing the test and going, "This isn't the time to explain this. It's a little bit scientific. Let me capture your information and I will send you information about it, and we'll talk about it later."
Okay.
If you've got a lot of people, there's a different answer if it's just them. But I know Daniela's had her hand up. So Daniela, did you have a question?
It wasn't so much of a question. Sorry, guys, I'm like driving, going to work. But so yesterday I got a couple of books that pretty much will, and I'll share this with you. So maybe somebody feel like that might be something they wanna purchase. And the books are pretty much reading the face of the person before even they start talking or before you start talking. And one of them is called "You Say More Than You Know You Say," or let me just check the title while I'm driving. "You Say More Than You Think." And it was on Amazon, and I'll share the rest of the books with Debbie, and you guys can find out. But pretty much is our faces say more than we know just by even not talking. Before you start talking to somebody, just to know how to approach them and what to start with. Do you start more with the positive things, or pretty much how to approach a person, not to lose them. And I watched a guy who goes around the country pretty much and talks about selling and how to get that person engaged. And when you can see you losing them, how you can get them back. So it's like little sell tricks. And I hate to use this or even say that I'm
Good.
Wait, your voice just went out. Your audio just went out.
Okay.
There it is.
But I felt like, okay, you can hear me now.
Yeah.
But I felt like this will be so helpful because sometimes I can feel like, okay, I start talking and they were interested in one point, I just lost them. So you're pretty much going to find out who is like the 5-minute person that you have to explain things to them really fast, and who is the person that will want more information before even you start talking. Just by where is their eyebrows, where is their nose, lines, mouths, everything. So it was super interesting to me. So I'm gonna stop talking because I have to get into work.
No problem.
But
And that's what do you call it when you can read people, the N, not N it.
yeah, I don't
I
remember.
took a whole
but
course in it. I can't remember.
right,
But anyway,
like it's a
you say more
science.
than you think is the book. Peggy Burst put it in
You
there.
say you
More than you
hold
think.
on.
You say more than you
You
think.
say more than you think, and
Right.
it's by Jenny Driver
Yeah,
or
Janine.
Janine Driver.
Yeah, I've been watching
Yeah.
her. She's good.
So there is a guy who talks about this, and he's I think he's in Instagram and also TikTok, I think, and he's Sublime Skills, and it's SULBTLE skills, and he talks a lot about pretty much face recognition. Yeah, I mean it's a science.
Okay.
So I'll share the books with you, Debbie, and then if somebody's
Okay.
interested, they can just find out. But I thought it's golden.
Absolutely. Well, and that all has to do with posture and body and your confidence. And if you
Mhm.
come across that way, that nobody's going to,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
why I can even go to a doctor
Yeah.
and say,
Yeah.
you don't have to believe me, but I know what I'm talking about. That,
Right.
it's not that I
Right.
believe in this, I know it works, basically.
Right. But
So they don't
even
question you that way.
on a Zoom call, you're going to be able to tell if you're getting person lost and how to bring them back.
Right. Yeah. And that would be
So
good to know.
yeah. Yeah. So anyways,
But I would think asking
you guys.
questions would be a good way to bring them back, find out
Yes.
what they're interested in, basically.
Right.
That's the
Right.
qualifying
Right.
questions. That's why I emphasize that so much. But
Right.
thank you, Daniela. Yeah.
All right. Love you guys. I'm going to have to run.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Have fun at
Bye.
work.
Debbie, I'm gonna try to remember my question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I did some of, okay, so I was thinking about when you were talking about with the foot, and I've talked with my neighbor about that, and he's like, I have ugly feet. You're not looking at my feet. So, I mean, can you would they get the same results like around their neck with their foot? Even in private, I'm thinking, your wife could do it, if you can't reach it, whatever. I don't know. Maybe he's just so skeptic that he doesn't even want to try it.
Yeah. And so I wouldn't push him if he doesn't want to try it. Just say it doesn't matter what your foot looks like. If you really want help, I'm happy to help you. But if you don't, that's fine. That's your choice. And
That's
put it up
correct.
to
But
them.
I was just asking if you had any results around the neck,
I've never done it
for
with,
that.
I've
Okay.
never done neuropathy with just the neck. I would think it would work better if you got it actually on the foot, because the
yeah.
molecules always work better if you can get them close to where there is a problem. That's why we tell men to use enemas for prostate and things like that. I think it would work better. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, I asked because my whole leg was bothering me one day, my right side, and I tested myself to just do one side, the left side, because it was my right leg, and then the third time, I'm like, I figured it's a nerve thing. I'm going to do it to the back of my neck, and I started feeling stuff right away. And my husband's like, "What is it? What are you feeling?" And I said, "I guess it's cell signaling, right? Because that's what it is." And I could just feel it relieve the rest of my leg, so I could sleep that night. I was dealing with it all day at work, just managing not to have to take anything, but I did want to go to sleep, so that worked really well. And I just, as opposed to putting the gel all over my leg, I just did it to the back of my neck. That's why I was asking. The other
Yeah,
thing
I just
is,
never tried it.
yes, I had come across that Janine Driver doing interviews. I think she's done TED Talks. Sounds like what Daniela was talking about is a little more in depth. Um, let's see what else I was going to ask you. But anyway, that's what I was going to say. Oh, yes. So I was doing that strength and balance with some people that I saw this weekend. And so first I said, did you have anything that hurt? Nothing, nothing, nothing hurts. Now their wife has been in the hospital, stuff like that, this person. And so really I was sending stuff for him if he wanted for her. But, I thought, well, I'll just do the gel test. Nothing hurts. So I'm like, okay, well, let me do this. You can make a little basket with your hands, because he couldn't do the balance, couldn't hold his foot up, couldn't hold his, stand like a flamingo for any length of time. And I forgot to do the one with the hands in front. So I just had him do the basket below. And as I pressed down, he's like, oh, I'm like, what? And he goes, I can't do that. His fingers released. And then guess what? Later that night, he's texting, you did a number on my shoulders. I'm like, what do you mean? And he says, my shoulders are going to hurt for weeks now. I'm like, okay, well, I'm trying to reach out to him to do the gel for his shoulders, and I'm being ghosted now.
Well,
When you do
sounds
that
like you
strength
heard him.
test, it doesn't take much pressure at all. You don't need to
Well,
use
he
much
said he
pressure
didn't
at all.
hurt, and I didn't think to ask him, do you have any, compromised areas? I think he's in his 50s, 60s. I don't know. But anyway,
Well,
I just said it just because I don't know what else. I didn't anticipate that. So,
well, and you probably won't get him back. And he, if he saying it's hurts, most people would tell you if they're incapable of doing something, they're not going to say, well, just like he told you he couldn't stand up with one leg. So there are some people that you won't be able to do that test on, but most people you'll be able to do it without any problem and without hurting people. So, and Peggy, you had a question?
Yeah, so I'm very interested in learning from anyone on how some best ways of introducing the advanced skincare to salons, aesthetic clinics, whatever, and how you might test the products in a meeting with them.
Well, that's open to anybody too, but you might go in and I know Ivani is really good, and so is Amy Nolan, and maybe it's the Asian because they're so into skincare and face care. She just goes in and does the whole demonstration on them. So she puts the cleanser on, and she has a damp cloth, and she takes that off with a damp cloth. You don't even need a sink necessarily. And then she puts the Renew 28 on, and she goes through the whole thing. And at the end, your skin feels, as you know, just amazing, just very soft and stuff like that. And she gets their interest by doing that. And you can also tell them that this is actually repairing the skin so that age spots and wrinkles and bags and sags and stuff do completely, usually greatly lessen or disappear with the more use of time. And there's science to back it up. And you could bring in the white papers, you could bring in any of that stuff just to show them something concrete about redox. James Watson, the PubMed list of universities who open redox, whatever it is, so that they can see how big this science is. and we're the only ones that have it. So you wouldn't
And-
have any competition with any other skincare products as far as being able to really get your skin healthy.
And
You could pull a
would
Marty
you
Lauren and put it on half your face.
Yeah, and
Would-
yeah, I would definitely bring
Do
that.
half. I
product
would
in.
do half for comparison.
And would you do it directly on their face? Someone suggested, you know, if people have makeup and that kind of thing, they're not going to want to do it on their face.
Yeah, if they do, you could do it on the back of their hand or something like that too.
And would you suggest watching a video before you demonstrate, or would you demonstrate then watch the video?
No, I'd go in and just say, I would bring up that this is a cellular health. It's the only skincare system in the world that helps repair the cells of your skin.
Oh, I don't think I want to leave.
I don't know who
I
that
know-
is.
One thing I noticed, I think it's in Carolyn Hoffman's group. She's doing a 45-day skincare promotion regime or something. I'll see if I can find it and put it in the chat here. But I think it's kind of focused on that. It's like, how do you present the skincare? But let me see if I can find that. It's called, I'll take a look here.
Okay. Yeah, and luckily when I go into the chiropractor's office, Diane, there's a washroom literally right there. And so they can go in and pull their pants down and put it on a hip or a knee or something like that. So if you've got access to a private area, if you're doing some of these things, like if you set up a table, maybe have it next to some place where people can go in and, you know, if they can't reach their pain area in public, then they could go into the private area and do it there and really get a benefit.
I love that.
You can also just go out anywhere and just say, I'm experimenting with something. I want to see if this really works. Would you help me? That's another great way to do the strength test, so that you could literally go out and find 10 people just going outside. Just, you could do it in the grocery store. You could do it anywhere basically. And just say, I want to know if this stuff is for real or not, you know, act like you're dumb about it and you want to find out about it, and that way you could do the strength test, and people would, you know, say, well, what is this stuff? And you could continue and just say, well, it's a cellular product that's been introduced to me, and if you want to know more about it, let me get you on the phone, or let me send you a video, because that's what I was sent, or whatever. And that way you could pass on the tool that, you know, that you wanted to get to them by just saying that. And just say, I'm learning about it too. So if you want to learn together, be happy to introduce you to people or whatever. You know, it's a great way to get your 3-way phone calls in, and, or, you know, and to do this experiment on many people. You could do it as many people as you wanted to every day when you go out.
Actually, I had a question, Debbie, and you answered part of it just there. After you do the balance test, and you know, and someone says, hey, what's going on here? What it is really the next thing to say, hey, this, you know, let's get on a call, tell you more about it, that, you know, it, rather than going on, you know, right then and there.
Yeah, and you can say, well, I was told that there's a 20-minute quick Zoom that they're going to explain it very simply in a 20-minute period, and it's this Wednesday, and I'm going to go to it. You want to go to it with me? You know, it's a Zoom, and I can get you the link, or I can get you the Zoom number.
Okay.
So you could do it. You could do things that way, and, or, you know, I mean, you could do it for Tuesday night with Ask the Doctor.
Right.
You could do it for any night. It doesn't have to be mine, but
I just mean, like, you find it more successful just to go right into that and use a tool, another tool, rather than right there trying to
explain it. Yes.
explanations.
'Cause
Okay.
especially, well, it depends on how you've approached them. If you're saying you're experimenting with something, you can't all of a sudden turn around and know everything about it. So you're going to have to present another tool to them, you know. But if you're saying, let me show you something, that's a different story. And then depending on what the situation is, that's what Anne was asking, what the situation is. If you've got a bunch of people, you don't have time to explain it.
Right.
And, Danielle even pointed out a good thing that, she had a whole lineup of people. And she said, I'm going to do it to the first person. And then the first person is going to do it to the second. And this, so I'm not involved. So you're not seeing that I'm pushing down in a certain way, or I'm not facilitating this. I want you guys to feel this. And so she got a whole line of people to do it. And they, and she also said, would you help me do a TikTok or an Instagram or a Facebook post or something like that? So you could have somebody videoing you while you're doing the strength and balance test. And then they want to help you because, oh, this is going to be on social media. Yeah, sure, I'll help you. That kind of thing. So there's a number of different ways that you can get people to, let them help you, with your experiments or whatever. So any of those things work. I happen to have a audience at the chiropractor's office that come in, and I can do the strength test on all of those people, and everybody else will see it in the office. So that's just one place. Okay, any other comments or questions?
Do you do all three of those strength tests at the same thing, or?
Yes. And
Okay.
literally, I've been with Leland when he did it in a restaurant, and he said, here, let me show you how to do this. And he did it. And then everybody else in the restaurant kept coming over, even the servers. Can you do that to me? Can you do that to me? And he did it. He must have done it to 7 or 8 people that night.
Wow. What fun.
I know, because it didn't take long, and, it got everybody's attention, and, we weren't interrupting other people's meals or dinners or anything. We were kind of over on the side, but anyway.
Do we know how long it lasts? Debbie, excuse me, Sean, I saw you put your hand up.
Oh,
It
go right
lasts a
ahead.
while.
Finish
It
your question,
depends.
Jackie. I'll ask in just a second. Thanks.
It depends. I mean, you can literally, I've also seen him take away that by kind of washing it off, because that takes the redox molecules away, and it adds water that's probably not very healthy. I mean, it wasn't great water. It was probably tap water or something. So you can take it away with anything bad for you instantly. But otherwise it lasts a while.
I will say that I've learned that you can just, we're experimenting, right? So people can try a little dab right here. You're not using it as much. If you want it to work, stretch your gel. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. And
I was
Sean?
gonna just add to what Peggy was asking with regard to an esthetician. I was trying to find it while you guys were talking. There, way back when, haven't seen him recently, but he used to be a cohort with Jim Glenn, Bill Friedman, I think his name was. He did a video with an esthetician. Her name is Robin Haney. I don't know if you remember that, Debbie, but she's apparently a very well-respected esthetician. And what I did when I met with an esthetician was I had that handy. I had it on my phone. And I got her attention by having an expert in her space kind of speak her language. And it's not a very long clip, but then it allowed me to get her to experience the Renu 28, just in terms of, touch, feel, no smell, that kind of thing. And she ended up buying from me. And I also, it got the attention of someone else who was in her waiting room. And she ended up buying some product. And so so I mentioned that only because I can send the video to you all and just have as a reference point.
Yeah, that'd be great if you can put it in the Accelerator group.
Yep.
And then Sandy Stewart, just to bring it to your attention, posted in the chat that Dr. Hoffman has a new group, Renewable You, all about skincare. And there's the Facebook connection.
I think it talks about maybe how to.
Debbie, when you were with Leland, how did he capture? What did he do for lead capture? Following those experiences in the restaurant, how did Leland capture for follow-up?
Oh, he asked for their name and number so he could get them information. And everyone gave it to him.
And he didn't try and explain it in that moment,
No,
which is, I think that,
Yeah.
talk about piquing interest.
it's all about cell renewal and what's good for your body. That's what he would say.
Yeah.
And let me get you more information. So yeah, he didn't try to explain it right then. It's a way of capturing their information, and
Yeah,
he knew they were interested, basically. He didn't ask too many qualifying questions or anything, which I would, again, always encourage, but you don't always have time to do that if you're in a restaurant with a bunch of people and stuff.
Right.
I
Yes,
also
qualifying
think
questions later.
to Anne's question or statement that you can also head off at the pass someone going to Google and Googling it by just saying straight up, the instinct for all of us is to go Google stuff. But that's not the way for you to understand this. There's all sorts of misinformation in that space, and just say it straight out. So if they go and do it anyway, then that's what they're going to find. And you already have owned that that's the space where you're going to find that. If you want, solid, qualified information, these are the places you can get it, and then move on to the next person in the line or something. So, or I'm happy to send it to you. Let me get your information, that kind of thing. So rather than kind of let a situation overcome you, speak to it and own it.
Posture.
100%.
Absolutely.
Debbie, I've got a question about this Wednesday, which is Valentine's Day, and I'm
I know, probably not a good night.
well, I just was wondering, don't want to waste your time. I know that I can't be on it. You all probably need to let Debbie know, but maybe we all should go celebrate love.
Yes, I could love myself that night.
Yeah, by taking a break.
Exactly.
It's just an idea.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is Valentine's Day. How many people think it should be canceled for a holiday like that?
Canceled.
I know Jackie would. She's definitely not going to be there.
Maybe the target audience is single women who really care about their skincare.
Oh, there you go. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, Peggy. Yeah.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's, Debbie.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, it's probably not a good night to do it.
If you want a Valentine's date next year, why don't you come to this one and
There you go.
hedge your bets.
Yeah.
And might I remind people, this is a leap year, so we have Sadie Hawkins Day at the end of the month where women get to ask men.
Ah, yeah. I forgot all about that.
Oh,
Anyway. All right, and Graciana wants to know if David Silverman has any other evening presentations besides the one on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. I'm aware he has morning presentations. He really doesn't do any evening presentations. He rarely does the team phone call anymore. But it's normally Dr. Hoffman that does the Tuesday evening ones, and she'll be back pretty soon. She was doing an acting thing with her son, and that was every Tuesday night. So that's why she hasn't been on. And so David really doesn't he does the Saturday mornings and he does the Monday mornings. And he supposedly does the team phone calls. We'll see if he's on this Monday or not, or tonight, I mean, I guess. Anyway, so he doesn't really do any evening presentations.
And just between us,
the
I was
reason
curious whether Alan Noble recorded a new introduction every time he does his Thursday calls, or every Thursday it's fresh. And I seem to have picked up something different on this call than last call. So I think he does a new one every week.
He doesn't normally change his slides, but he has been tweaking them with the new information about the white papers, and also just trying to get more into the business part of it.
I didn't mean, I
Yeah.
didn't mean his slides. I meant his, you know,
What
what
he
he
said.
says to the slides.
Oh, yeah, he could. I think he tries to get it down, and then once he gets it down, after things have changed, he always, then he keeps saying the same thing, so we'll know what to expect. So he's probably just keeps finding better ways to say it. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And speaking of presentations, am I correct that this Tuesday, tomorrow night, it's Dr. Marty, the veterinarian? I thought I heard that.
I don't know who. I know he was on last week. I'm not sure.
No, I think tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. is Dr. Silverman, who will take care of the presentation. How do I know that? Because this morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, he said that.
Okay, darn, because I had just spoken to the veterinarian. I thought it was going to be Dr. Marty. She was going to be interested in listening to him. Okay.
I think he might still do a one on Thursday afternoon at 2:00 Central.
Right. Thank you for that reminder. I do have that Zoom number. Thank you.
But maybe check with Dorothy Dabney. I think Dorothy might record. Check that. So
yeah, I've got 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Perfect. Okay, thanks.
All right, he talked about this Saturday. Let me catch up. He put so many things in.
I know. I think there was a flyer about this week, and I can't seem to find that little image that had all the breakdown of what was going on this week.
Yeah, because he posts on so many different things. That's where I have a problem. Anyway, I'll find out and I'll put it in the Accelerator group. He's talking about you can still earn a cent. And ask the doctor plus, but that was a Saturday. I don't see him saying he's doing it tomorrow night, but she could be right. I don't know. I'll have to look. But anyway, I should let people go if they want to. Is there any other questions or comments? Are there any other questions?
One thing I noticed. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. If you'd like to touch briefly on, I'm finding I'm also struggling a little bit with closing. So if you could touch a little bit on how do you close without being too stern, I guess, because I find that people just let me linger, but I think I'm the one who's letting them linger because I'm not asking the right questions to close it off. So is there maybe or even if people want to just put it in the Accelerator group, if they have, general quick little questions they ask just to close things off?
An easy question is there anything else you need to know before you'd want to get started with this? Perfect. Sandy might have some good ideas because she's a good closer, but is this something you'd like to get started with? It's completely safe, can't hurt you. You have nothing to lose. You might have one foot in the grave. Whatever.
Again, is there anything else you need to know before
you're ready to get started with this?
You're ready to get started. Okay, thank you. I like that one.
Anyone else have
something that comes out of my mouth sometimes is, what else can I provide for you to help you make an informed decision that's in your best interest?
Good one. What else can I provide? Okay. Because I find I have a lot of people that have major interest and they say that they want to try it, but they're just not committing. And I feel like I'm just bugging the heck out of them because, contacting them every week.
What else do you need to know to get started? You sound like you want to get started, but is there something holding you back? What is it? Jackie, you have any ideas? You're a good closer.
Yeah, I say all of this stuff, like, what other questions, can I answer are you ready to get started? Just, I don't know. keep
She
going
doesn't,
back and forth.
she doesn't mamby-pamby around. She's like, want to
Yeah.
get started
think-
or should I leave you
not?
alone?
I
Right,
think it was,
And if we don't ask, the answer is always
Yeah.
no.
exactly.
Yes,
And
okay.
Sandy, did you
I
have
think
something?
there was one that I remember from Gina Moran. I think she said, can I make a recommendation? And what I would like to do is just have a conversation about a product plan so you can kind of know what it would be like to get started and kind of do a soft close and say, let's talk about, is this just for you or your family? Oh, it's just for me. Well, then, we normally start people with, you want to do 4 ounces a day, and then we do a check-in day 7. And if you're not seeing any shift, most people don't for a few weeks. So then we jump to 8 ounces. So we would recommend that you start with 2 cases on a subscription, which you can change anytime, and a tube of Renu 28. And I don't go, especially if it's just a product person, I'm just going to get a product plan. And I said, if that works for you, we can just get you started today, over Zoom, or I can email you a shared cart, and then I coach you. When you get your product, I'll be calling you, and we do day 1 check-in, and it's just letting them know that they're going to have support the entire way. And I would like to get better with the business close. I try to kind of talk about a product plan, but I want to go back and review the video that Danielle did with the new enrollment packs, because there's no more free reward points. They get free product.
Right.
But it is beneficial if they can get up to the 400 PV level to not do their $40 enrollment. So it's a similar way to kind of how you get started. I remember when Barbara got me, she said, well, how much do you think you want to spend? And I said, well, I'm kind of in, how about $500? Will that get me started? So she kind of met where I was at when I enrolled as an associate. So
I just thought of something else and I forgot it. So, but that's another good one. And or I know what I say sometimes, if this works for you, would you want to share it with anyone?
yeah,
'Cause that's a
Yeah.
really good soft business way.
yeah.
Do you think you'll ever share it with anyone?
Mhm.
And you get their answer right away. And that's how I used to start off people, as being an associate rather than a preferred customer.
Mhm.
Well, let's just do, but now I fall back to being a preferred customer first, probably. But if they're real gung ho and go, of course, I'm going to tell everybody about this if it works for me. You may want to say, okay, then you might want to start off as an associate and have your own website so you can do that. And you get offers of a better pack price and stuff like that if you do that,
Mhm.
because they are obviously much more forward thinking and, making up their mind faster. You can
I
tell they're
said
going
that
to do business.
I
Yep.
said to the massage therapist that I'm working with, she's stepping into a SIA and she has a construction job going on in her own body. I said, when your body responds to this, do you see yourself sharing this with other people? And she said, absolutely. I'm already thinking of people. And I said, and I suppose you're probably not opposed to having another stream of income. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So you're bringing up things for them to think about. All good points.
Yeah, really.
All right. If there's nothing else, and there was a lady on earlier. I don't know who it was though. Yeah, she's hopped off. I didn't know if anybody knew her.
I didn't.
Okay. I was going to ask her next if she was here for a reason, but anyway. All right. So your assignment, of course, is to go out and do this strength test with friends and hopefully strangers and stuff like that, or new people, so that you can get very comfortable with doing it yourself and seeing that it works every time. And then also, and I will put this in the Accelerator group, and then going out and doing some with people you don't know or people who might be interested. So use your Renu 28. Make sure you have a big full tube or 2.
Debbie, there's something here, Deep Sea Royalty, Dion, who's
Yeah,
that?
that's Dion. She's in Jackie's group under
Oh,
Sarah.
okay,
Yep.
okay.
She's,
Just making sure she's recognized.
yep, no, she's on, and she's the one that does quite a few webinars, and Jackie and I get on.
Nice.
She's influencer.
Get
So,
to be like her when I grow up.
exactly.
That's great.
Anyway,
Good morning,
okay.
Dion.
Well, go with love, everyone. And is Joy
Thank-
still on? No, she hopped off. I was going to ask her how
Haven't
she
seen
was feeling. Okay, everyone have a
And
great
I love Sean's lead with love. Go and lead with love.
lead with love. Yes.
Yeah,
No,
definitely.
let us know about